Hey everybody, this is Chris Baker, your host of the podcast Tell Me Your Story. If you're watching or listening, today's guest is Jerome Moss. He's going to tell his story from the very beginning all the way to the end. And we're going to do like how we always do. We're just going to jump right into this and start from the very beginning and talk about where'd you grow up at, where'd your childhood start off at. Just, simple questions. All right, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Well, my name is Jerome Moss. I was born in Akron, Ohio, the North Akron area. Parents, Al Moss Sr., Albert Jerome Moss Sr. I'm a junior. And also Gwendolyn Davis Moss, both from Bessemer, Alabama. My mother got a job with General Tire out of college and came up here. My father was in the Marine Corps and I started like cutting hair, doing hair, and things of that nature. So they moved to Akron, and lo and behold, a few years later, they had me in North Akron. So um, I have a sister, older sister, Tanea Rochelle Moss. She's 6 years older than me, so I'm 39. So right now she's 45. She's turned 45. It was like 5, 6 years old, so older than me. I have a daughter, Sienna Rain Moss, who's 7 years old. I have, like I said, my mother is still living. My father is deceased now, but I also have two nieces and a nephew, Kylan Hood, who's 25, Kylia Hood, who's 22, and Kaylee Hood, who just turned 18. So I've been watching them grow. So coming from the north side of Akron, I went to Harris Elementary School, and then I went to Jennings Elementary School. I played with Patterson Park football, Patterson Park Vikings football all the way on up. I went 1 year over to East, 18 year, and I came back over to Patterson to play ball. Played with the North Side Lakers and the ARB teams, that was located in North Akron going up. So
What
all
position
that
did you
good
play?
stuff. Well, I was always a point guard and a quarterback. Right now, I look like a lineman and power forward, But I've always, all my life, I've played. It was either pitcher, shortstop, or first base. It was either quarterback, maybe free safety, and point guard, or sometimes I swap out the two. But I was out. We grew up where the teams that I played on, multiple people could play multiple positions. So I was able to play a tight end, on the line, linebacker, things of that nature. Even when I went up through high school and college, and also when I played a little bit of arena football, I was able to play multiple positions. So yeah, that was that. I played multiple positions, but mainly point guard and quarterback.
What position you think I played?
Yeah. I would say you play slot receiver.
Yep, that was my offensive position. But what about defense?
Yeah. I would say you play. You asked me the question, so I'm gonna say linebacker. No?
Nope,
Yeah. Did you play defense at all? Did you
I
play
did.
defense?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay. So strong safety,
Nope,
corner,
nope.
free. Then that's the last. Then I'm free.
I was a nose
No,
tackle.
he was a nose tackle. I would have never guessed that. I should have known it wasn't a DB position because you asked.
I was going
Yeah,
right through him, man.
oh yeah. We it was some athletes that we had in the city, two twins actually, Ben and Adam Flossie. I think I don't know. I think Adam, one of them was on the line. I think Adam Ben was on the line. But he was tough. He was a small little dude. I ain't saying he was a small little dude, but he was tough. But his brother played DB.
Listen, well, I'm about 5'5", so
Oh,
I
so okay.
with shoulder pads on, I was 4'6", so I was able to bear crawl myself through them big boys, man.
Right,
And I
right.
had the
That's what's
speed
up,
to get to
though.
the
That
quarterback.
goes to show your heart, though. That goes to show your heart. Is you was in the trenches. You was in the trenches with those. So that's what's up. That's hard. From a coaching standpoint, I probably would have loved a player like you.
Well, the thing was, people would always ask me, "Chris, are you afraid to go against those guys?" And I'm like, "No, I'm too fast for them." By the time they
Mhm.
get up, I'm through them already. Because I
Yeah,
would get in
I
that
would have
bear
loved
crawl
that for you.
position, I would launch myself through.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to have you as a teammate and a player. Go get them. Go get them.
Did you guys
But
did you
go
make the
ahead.
playoffs at all, or
We didn't make it the playoffs. We were my junior senior year. We were both 2-8. Basketball, we had a pretty good team. We never panned out like we should have, I felt. But I got accolades. I was a first team All City quarterback and point guard my senior year. Uh, Made all district in both sports. Um, you know, and from there was able to go off to college and play both sports at Geneva College. That's in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. So played football and basketball there before transferring to Malone University. Um, I didn't play basketball there, but I played football and I ran a little bit of track. From there, I finished with my sport management undergraduate degree, bachelor's degree, and started playing arena football for a couple of years. So after playing arena football for a couple of years, I had a great time playing arena football. Um, it was some things that I did personally. I felt that when I look back on it, kept me from really enjoying professional sports more, and even possibly making it even, to the NFL or even overseas playing basketball or something like that. But it was some things that 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 held me back, and some of them, a lot of that was me. I hold my own self back, you know. Uh, but from there, from playing arena ball, a few seasons at the Canton Legends, and then my last stint was the Mahoney Valley Thunder, which that's when I went through camp first couple of weeks, had an injury to my knee, and then just never got back. And I probably could have got back, but again, it was one of those things where it was just on me. I
hold
was
on,
doing some other things.
wait.
Huh?
Let's step back just a little bit and kind of
Okay.
talk about college for and kind of talk about your
College.
experience and like just playing sports and just being in
Okay.
school together. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Okay. College was very interesting for me. Wow. Like, I really don't talk about college like that. Um, college, college produced some scars, mental scars. And yeah, um, some wounds. Because things happened in college that changed my whole paradigm.
Like
What I thought, I felt.
how you looked at
You
life
know,
and everything.
yeah, everything. Like it really changed. And then it was a later part of life when that paradigm got changed again. But um, college, I love playing. I love playing ball. I love uh, my teammates and things of that nature. I love that whole aspect of school. Getting up in the morning, going to class, playing ball. I played two sports, football and basketball in college. So I was a abnormal African American there. But I went to two Protestant Christian colleges. So we're looking at like 85% white, maybe 7% African American, you know, 7% or more, or whatever it may be, other, and mixed up around that. So if you was black on campus, it, chances are you was an athlete, or they thought you was an athlete. Wasn't a lot of athletes, but it were, and statistics show that more of your colored individuals that was on campus, were athletes. Um, but enjoyed it. It was definitely one of those aspects as it relates to racism, where individuals would play more than others, things of that nature. People wouldn't be in position because of with their color. Like I was always a quarterback, right? And so when I got to campus, we had these red shirts on, so it was different for me. You know what I mean? So I felt like, oh, I get this red shirt, you can't touch me no more. Like it's different, you know. So I'm out here and throwing the passes and going through the offices, going through camp, and obviously I'm better than all the quarterbacks. Like, we got D1 transfers. Like it was a crazy year when I came in because we had like all these transfers. There was all this stuff going on. And we had about 6 D1 transfers and other individuals, and everybody was telling me, hey man, withdraw. Don't even play one more practice and go like walk on at Penn State or go walk on at Pitt, because I was in PA, go back and walk on, at Youngstown State or something like that. Like, don't waste your time here. I was like, no, I'm gonna be the starting quarterback. I'm gonna see the starting quarterback, and that never happened. Right, that never happened. My coach told me I was too athletic to play quarterback. He said he'd rather me play receiver, DB, punt return, kick return, than to play quarterback. So that right there let me know a few things, especially when I graded out above all the quarterbacks, not only on paper but with my teammates, as it relates to playing that specific position of quarterback. And even when I was in basketball, when I played point guard, I played a point guard, but I was moved to the two. Now I don't mind moving to the two to shoot, because I scored some of the most points I ever scored in my life in college. I had some of my best. I would say I probably had my best game of football. But if I was to pick out like top five, at least 2 or 3 of them came from college. And if I would say basketball, a couple of them came from college as well. You know, um,
I'm thinking about like your quarterback, like the coach telling you that you're too athletic to be quarterback, and like just thinking about like how the NFL is evolving now and how they're having
oh
all these guys that are like exactly that, and it's like this dude's probably thinking like, what was I thinking back then?
yeah. Like I would, and it was interesting that the team I was at the time in Geneva. And I'm not going to delve all the way into this, but the team that I had around me with the transfers in, the offense was so dynamic, and I ran option in West Coast like in high school, so I could throw every pass. And I was running subpar 4.4, 4.5 at 205. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
6'2", 205. You know what I'm saying? From a side, from a size wise and ability, you'd be like, well, and then the people around you, like there'd be a no brainer for a D1 coach who's looking at it, from a college perspective. But it just wasn't that. I would get plays where I would give sprint outs, and the check down is first person you see, look up, check the safety first, see if you got the post, but dump down. Well, I could just run for the first down. And it comes,
yeah.
I could pump fake, right? They do it in the NFL, they do it, I could run for 5 or 6 yards, get positive, but I could still hit down, so I would hit down. Sometimes it'd be covered up and I'd run, but my 5 yards would be 20, 25, 30, you know. But it was the veterans on the sideline, like the especially like the black players and some of the white players, some of the white players too. A couple of them came, some of my linemen, the senior linemen. They would tell me, "Stop running, throw the ball." Stop running, throw the ball. You
Stop
know,
running, man. Stop being Michael Vick.
yeah. So I would throw the ball. You know, and so sometimes people wouldn't catch it. But make a long story short, I I thought from an ego standpoint, they were like, man, like trying to hold, like, no, I'm about to do whatever I do. What they were trying to tell me is, you keep doing that, they about to change your position.
Uh, okay, I see.
Like you the quarterback. Like, no, man, like, no. Like, whatever you do, if they throwing the ball and missing passes, you throw the ball too the same way. And when you can skittle, everybody can see you can do that. You know what I'm saying? And everybody can see you can throw every pass better than all the quarterbacks. Start passing the ball. Start using your feet to really pass the ball. And we get it. You're scoring every time you get up down the field. Like, you're winning. I'm scoring every time on scrimmages, every time. No, man, pass the ball. So from an ego standpoint, that's something I had to learn. From just an athlete's perspective, but from a racism perspective, it was like, you know, not only that, but the things that you dealt with in high school, in college. I remember I went to two Protestant Christian schools, so it was one time. I don't know if it was after chapel that we had or not. But I remember me and my roommate Stephen Green. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. He's doing well down there. That's a body shop called Paintless Dent Doctors. Good man. God put us together. It was interesting how we met because when we first seen each other on the visit, it was like we didn't even like each other. Like I didn't like him. It was something about him I didn't like. But then we went to lunch, and my mom, his dad, his mom, and some of the people were sitting down eating lunch together. So we had to sit right next to each other and talk, and that became a friendship. But one day we came into we had these message boards. So people, college can do a message board. I was here, and we had a noose tacked on our board with a squirrel tail.
Somebody put a
And so
noose
on our message board,
on the message board.
right outside our room. Like, the room, you got a little board. Everybody had this little board. Message, people come by. Message, I was here, so they don't text me on the board. But on our board, on our board, was a noose and a squirrel tail.
And how did you guys react to that when you seen that?
We was mad, and we showed everybody we was mad, so we did that. We had reason, and nothing was ever done about that. Nothing was ever done about that at all.
Wait, what
what
year is this? What year is this?
So I graduated in 2000. This was spring of 2001. And we were still freshmen. I just fresh on the campus. And there was other things that happened, you know.
Talk about them. It's okay.
Yeah. It was other things that happened even later on. I remember this specifically when I was at my first school. Like even we moved into apartments and things of that nature around on campus, things of that nature. We would always get people. We would always get the RDs, the RAs. They would always come into our room. We just set booby traps. And we know who came in our room because we knew it was four of us. So, really three of us just set little traps and stuff to know, where if somebody came in because we knew people was coming in our room. They was coming in our room when we wasn't there. Some days we'd have a Bible study with the football team. We was a unique group of individuals. So we would have Bible study with the players you would never think would be going to Bible study. The players that's the partiers and things of that nature, they would be in our room. We have Bible study. So we would be sometimes debating about scripture. It's like literally, it's like the Bible, scripture. And he talking to his pastor. I didn't call my youth pastor. They hold on. I mean, like it's all we almost like fighting each other about what's right. The Bible, like seriously. And they pop in our door, come on in. Think somebody fighting. We did this several times. Like, we'd be cooking and things of that nature. We'd have the football players and say, we'd buy 150 to 100 wings, and we'd cook wings, and we had like 4 individuals. Taste my wings, my 25, who the better. So we had a lot of football players, basketball players, coming in, come in, pop the door, things of that nature. So it was obvious, even around, like, yeah, it's not that they're targeting us, but I happen to be one of the premier athletes that play football and basketball. Going to the football stadium, I got the little banner, when you walk inside the football stadium, things of that nature. So, what's going on with him. So we experienced some different things, and I had mentors. If it wasn't for the mentors and the people that God put around me, I wouldn't have made it. And then even going to Malone, that's what kind of got me out of where I was at Geneva. And when I ended up going to Malone, I had several different options to go before I went to Malone.
No,
They all kind of crumbled.
My question is, like, when you transferred from Milan, was that a big reason for it, or?
Yeah, yeah. I was about to stop playing ball. I was about to stop playing ball. I was done with it. And I was really done with it after a couple of schools I thought I was going to either choose. They fell through, so I really thought I was like, man, I'm done with this. But Malone, talking to Malone, they came through, and I ended up finishing my last few years playing football there. And that was even funny because Malone was one. When I went to Malone, I was all conference receiver.
So you ended up switching over, huh?
Yeah, right. And I was all conference in basketball too. So I'm switching over, and it's in the same league. So somehow I played football, but I wasn't allowed to play basketball. But I averaged about 30 points a game on Malone in basketball when I played at Geneva. So yeah, it was like, hold on, man.
Why is this guy allowed to play basketball?
Every time we play on you, and every time we played Malone, it was either the first or second game that I had back from playing football. So it was like one of the first like new games. And then we played later on in the season. But in both of those games, I was 30 plus with a game winner.
Man, that's really good though, man, to be putting up 30 points a game. How many assists you got?
Well, I had a lot of assists, but that game I might have had about 5 or 6. We had dunkers. We had other shooters on the team too. So, if I scored like I said, game I scored 34, we might have scored 80, 90. So, we had other players who put in 15, 16.
My question for you is: your offense is good. How was your defense?
Oh, I was a big guard, so my defense was my defense was good, and I was a bigger person, so I could play one pretty much through the 4. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely on the perimeter. Now, if I was in a post with a solid 4, then I struggle. But if I was in a post with a weak 4, he'd be D'd up. But so defensively, I could move around. I wasn't the fastest or the quickest, but I had quick hands. You put that ball in front of me too many times, I was gonna take it.
I believe in you putting up 30 points, man.
Yeah, I was gonna take it. Yeah, I had good hand-eye coordination. I was saying, but I ended up playing. Like I said, in college, I ended up playing receiver. So I was, all conference receiver. So that was the first time I really ever played any other position outside. And then, like I said, towards my punt return, kick return, things of that nature. That's the
How
first time I
actually
played those
how
positions.
was it? How was the change up going from quarterback to receiver at the college level? Was it kind of like a difficult change at first, or were you just adjusted to it real quickly?
Yeah, I did that to it real quick. If I was at a higher level, it probably been more difficult. But no, it was an easy transition. It was, uh, yeah, I'm gonna be honestly for real. It wasn't a easy. It was a very easy transition to honestly. It was just learning the plays, learning the concepts.
So do you feel like
Once you
the
learn the
passes
plays,
you
learn the
catching it?
concepts. Yeah, once you start understanding concepts, then it was the hardest thing for me was remembering the play. Remember the play. A quarterback, all the plays. That's what helped me though. What helped me was because quarterback, you got to know all the plays. So when it came down to running, I knew the concept of the play. But I had to understand, like, this is the X, the Y. I get all of that, but you're playing that now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
instead of you throwing the ball, you got to run a quick pin out.
yeah, now you're catching them.
Yeah, your pin out is quick because you got to get out the way. You're not getting the ball. Somebody else getting the ball. Where a quarterback was like, you got the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that was different. It was different, not going 3 quarters without touching the ball. You know,
Yeah, that definitely had to be a different experience to you
yeah,
there.
yeah. It was tough. So ego stand. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't. My ego was a part of it.
Did it deflate you a little bit? Or were
Yeah, you
you
got to. Got to humble you. I got to humble you. It did what it was supposed to do in my life. I truly felt like it did because I, I got egotistical at some time. I ain't gonna lie. You know,
we all do?
uh, yeah, yeah. It takes people to humble my roommate. My roommate Stephen Gray. He was probably him and Miss Vicky, Miss Vicky Lee. They from Geneva. They were humbling. They humbled my spirit for all things, and I'm glad that one was uh, my roommate, and the other one was like my mentor, my youth pastor up there's wife, and so there was a few other individuals too, but those two definitely helped
You
helped me
kind of
ground.
give us a little bit of detail, like how they deflated you a little bit, brought you back, humbled you. What did they do? And
Well, well, Steve used to just tell me straight up, like times when he felt I was being egotistical, he'd tell me like, bro, you being egotistical, like you don't have to say that. You don't have to say this. Like, he was real with it, you know. And after a while, you look back at it, he was right. He was right. And then Miss Vicky she was like that with everybody. She's still that way. And she'd go off on anybody. Anybody can get it. Like anybody. And because you're an athlete in the community, people like you because you this, that, and another. No, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. And
oh,
she still to this day, I gotta talk to her because she's one of those individuals in my life that gives me balance. So I had to bounce things off of her and let her go ahead. Because I don't have my dad. My dad passed away, so I usually that's my dad's opportunity. So I use different individuals to
so she's giving you the right
go
advice
off of
now.
and give me back. Yeah. I need it. I be needing it. That's like my therapy. It's crazy, but it's like a coach. It's like a coach going off on you, and then you do better.
Yep, that's exactly. I know
That's what it
exactly what
was.
you're
It's
talking
just
about.
like yeah. It's like you just spoke it into me, and okay, thank you.
That's
I might
I'm blessed.
receive it.
I'm
Go
blessed
ahead.
because that's how my wife is. She does that for me.
Okay,
You know,
that's good.
yeah, she keeps me humble.
Yeah, but out of college, harp on college, but out of college, played a few years arena football and got into the workforce. Um, Worked at First Energy Nuclear Operating Company. That was like one of my first main jobs. The YMCA wellness coordinator, and then um, I did that, and that was part of my sport management intern, and then turned into a job. So I ended up was doing that, and I started playing arena ball in the
Hold on,
midst
hold
of
on,
that.
hold on, wait. Before we go into that arena, kind of like
Mhm.
let's get a taste of how it was with your first job to be actually training people now and grooming them to, in the field that you've been doing your whole life. You've been training your whole life, and now you're training others to do that as well. What was that like?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I actually, was personal trainer for a while. Pretty much all the way to I stopped like actively playing ball myself. I loved it. I still do. I just don't do it at all right now. But I'm working on getting my own self together.
Yeah,
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was something that I knew. It was something I learned over the years of different trainers and different people I worked out with. So I was always willing to learn and wanting to know new things because it was individuals that came in at the why, athletes, things of that nature. They were doing different stuff, so that I learned from them. They learned from me. So we'd be in there combining workouts, getting each other better. So that was dope. And then when I played, when I was playing arena football, it was pretty much just you got to work out. Work out. Go get a meal here. Go get a meal here. Pay here. Get a little bit of money. Practice a few days out the week. It was love. I loved it.
I was thinking more like,
I
dude,
loved it.
like I love to travel and stuff, and I was thinking like, what arena football? That's probably were you doing that a lot, just going all over the place.
Yeah, it was a small league. It was a small. It wasn't major. It wasn't major D1 arena ball. So it was lower level. So we traveled, the PA circuit, the Virginia circuit, New York, kind of around, Michigan circuit, all throughout Ohio, things of that nature. So, but going in and out of arenas was always dope, you know, and playing, and I mean, it was fun. It was something that you got paid to do, and something that you've been doing all your life for free, and it was something that you love. So it was the opportunity to do it was amazing, and we had a good team, and from that, I still got some lasting, relationships, friendships from it.
Brotherhood, man.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's the best thing about sports, man, is you always get that brotherhood, and it stays with you sometimes the rest of your life.
yeah,
And I love that,
yeah,
man.
definitely, yeah, definitely, definitely. And after arena ball, said working with First Energy, that was a nuclear operating company in PA. So Miss Vicky and Reverend Lee told me about this opportunity to do seasonal work. You can make about $16,000 in 3 months. So I was just coming off arena season. I was doing some substitute teaching. I said, let me try this. I love the experience. I love the money. Um, but I said I ain't want to do that. I ain't want to work in a nuclear operating company, manufacturing. No, now I had an easy job, so I was just a janitor, right? So I was the custodian. I had an easy job. I felt, and we was in the outhouse. So they said the outhouse is always was the best job. So I literally had the best job on. You know what I'm saying? And my supervisors was cool, man. They cooked every Friday, eggs, bacon, biscuits. Every Friday, everybody knew the house was cooking. It was a great experience, but I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Can't do this. I 12-hour days, you be on a shutdown, it might be 14-hour days, but you get paid. And some of them days you ain't got nothing to do. So you literally, that's when the cookouts start happening. You ain't got nothing to do. You got to be there for 7 hours. And you're like, somebody's like, hey, you about to go get some ribs. You about to go get some. And all of a sudden, it's the best day ever. I love that about that experience. But then I left, came back to Akron, did some subbing, working with some different organizations, uh, through working with different organizations, specifically Alchemy Inc. I was able to meet Carla Sibley at the time, but she was working with closing the achievement gap. She was working in community relations department, outreach department at Akron Public Schools. So she told me about a position to work kind of on the state level with education, and ended up getting that position. And that put me in the whole education realm. I learned so much about education, like how education is operated in a more in-depth way. Um, I started understanding statistics around education a lot more, variables of why things are the way they are. And it was just called CTAC, closing the achievement gap, and focused on those youth coming from 8th grade to 9th grade and has specific risk factors. And we try to work with them. We try to work with them as best we can to get them from the 9th grade to 10th grade, right? But that was paramount. And then I was still working with Alchemy, doing some groups, things that with them, which I learned a lot from Alchemy. During that time period, they're very integral into my life, and from there I started going. I remember going through a rites of passage, an econ-based rites of passage. It took about 2 years, a little over 2 years, almost 3, and just taught me a little bit about self-knowledge, about who I was, who I am, Africa, uh, geology in itself,
And
world
I mean,
events.
kinda like, what was that like, just being able to learn the history of your roots and becoming more, just getting more knowledge of it? Stuff that you probably knew, but once you were gaining more of it, how was it feeling just getting that in there?
That became that second paradigm in my life. When we were talking about earlier, that paradigm, that became that second paradigm in my life. And that changed the way I thought about myself, and I thought about the things that I was pursuing and why, right? So it was that whole concept of who are you? Are you who you say you are? And are you who you ought to be?
Hold on,
And why?
wait 1 second. If anybody doesn't,
Mhm.
that's watching, listening right now doesn't understand what the word paradigm means, what better way to say it is how you see yourself, how you're looking at yourself. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for saying that too. Um, and so, it was a who, like I said, there was that question, who are you? Like, who are you really? You know, are you who you say you are? And are you who you ought to be? And why? And why? What makes sense? Like what brings you joy? You know, strip everything else around you. Understand history, understand knowledge, understand things that's going on, and how can you fit your way and do what you need to do and survive. And that just gave me a whole different perspective on which way to move. And being with Alchemy, Dr. Scruggs, I never forget, he always talked about this line in a book. I want to say is by Joseph Campbell, and it's Follow your bliss. Is like a line in this book. It's a big, thick book, man. And follow your bliss. And he said, what do you think you're good at? I was like, well, I'm good at working with youth and intervening and things of that nature. He said, do you want to be a counselor? I said, kind of, sort of. Well, you, sounds like you like coaching and sports and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I want to still be an aspect to try to be an agent, and sports gonna be all my life. Well, that's your passion. You might want to do something around that.
Yeah.
And I was already thinking about this sports science master's degree, sports science and coaching, dual master's program. So. And he was like, follow your bliss, man. Follow what God leads you to do. Follow what you do good. And it was always education and sports.
And
That
that's,
was where
I mean, pretty much how I'm looking at it is exactly that. He was trying to tap in to figure out what is your gift that God has blessed in your life so you can blossom. And that's what
Mhm.
that's what I'm getting at right now. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Education and sports, and everything else comes off that. That's got you. Not only that's what got you there. That's just going to push you through because that's what you're good at. That's what you do, and everything comes through education. Everything comes through sports. There's only a few things in the world that bring everybody together. School, although it's separated in there, but school, education, learning, sports, and music. You can't you give me one more other thing. I'd be hard pressed to name just one more other thing. Not even religion. Religion is so divided and so
oh
separated.
yeah, you try to get religion in
Yeah,
the picture, and it's
yeah. Music, education, and sports. But if you even pull out education, music, and sports, you bring a lot of people together. And so that was something that I realized, like, how can I use what God has given me to benefit others? How can I help others? Because if I'm able to help others, I know God gonna help me. You
yeah.
know, God gonna help me, and that's kind of the mindset I lived with since then. I've always had that mindset though, but not like I got it.
No,
I went through a period in college that I had it, and it was more rebel. And then I came out of this, and it was like more okay.
more now that you were humbled, you knew who was in control. You know that
Hmm.
God, with God leading every step of the way, nothing's impossible, and He's gonna get you
Yeah,
to where you need to be.
yeah, the ancestors doing everything they need to do to make it happen. So and then from there, so I started working in the mental and behavioral health field. I started coaching after I finished my degree in uh, sports science and coaching, sport administration for the University of Akron. My master went right into coaching collegiate ball. So I've coached, like I said, college ball for 10, 11 years, right? 7 as a head coach, women's basketball. So, and I taught about 5 years or so, different classes on the collegiate level as adjunct instructor, right in the midst of COVID. Like I actually taught through COVID. And then that semester after, I went no classes no more. So
And
I'm still trying to get back to that.
okay, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but kind of since you was in the field, kind of like explain what it was like going through the COVID period and trying to be able to. You're not in person anymore. Now you're trying to teach. How hard was that adjusting to that?
Um, it was different, but it made you do it made you adjust, right? So all the things that normally how you normally teach class, how you normally conduct business, it made you adjust. So uh, it was challenging at times because it was new. Everybody was trying to adjust, and nobody had the answers, and everybody was just building the plane as they try to put it in the air. So it was difficult from that standpoint, but as relates to content delivery from your students, it was cool. I know for my class, I thought it was cool. I wouldn't have mind still had been teaching throughout COVID. That first semester was cool to me. Them 2 semesters, really, when that spring and then the fall, when we was all into it, and then um, the following spring is when I didn't teach anymore. So that was interesting. That was interesting. The thing about teaching in COVID, it was my advisors, my chair, who really brought me in, Dr. John Roncone, uh, and really pretty much gave me his classes and really, mentored me, uh, teaching, and I loved it. He was he was a lot of the top tier individuals from the sports science department, wellness education department at Wayne were let go. So that department failed. So that was the end of me. Um, they're PhDs and they got extensive career with University of Akron, but you know, they were out of a job too, really before me. Dr. Roncone gave me a class, a 3 credit class, and he could have taught actually. And he had gave it to me, not knowing that 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, the stipulations coming down from COVID as it relates to staff members and faculty, even tenured individuals would rule to terminate them. So a lot of departments kind of, I can say fail, but diminished. Some fail, definitely. Some fail, throughout the university, throughout the nation, from collegiate standpoint. So that was something that took me out of teaching on a collegiate level. But I'm gonna get that's my end game. I'm gonna get back to it. That's what at the end of the day, I love sports history, I love sports psychology, ethics, morals. I love the science of it. I love the social. I love social sport, legal aspects of sports. Like I love it. And it's all within the education, right? So I feel like when I get to that, when I'm ready to retire, which I feel like I would never retire from teaching. I'm able to go to a class and teach. I got professors that's 70 years old. If I get there 70, Lord willing, and still be teaching and got my scruples, I'm going to be doing that. I get up, I take my coffee, my breakfast, go teach my couple of classes, and come back on no, Um, but but after coaching, just went back to the city. Akron, I always lived in Akron, so just coaching football and coaching basketball. And, now I have a nonprofit organization. So my nonprofit organization started about 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago. Um, and from 5 years ago, we've we've done a lot. But we've done a lot. I'm content. I think we can be much farther. I'm content, but my nonprofit organization is called Guys and Gals Community Partnership Incorporated. And our mission, our vision is to promote the physical and psychological well-being of individuals and communities through holistic education and preventable health programming. Um, our signature program is called the Hoop for Coop. Got it on my shirt. So we got our youth event coming out this year at Bookdoor at April 9th, and then our adult event is June 4th at St. V, LeBron James. uh, kudos to Willie McGee who helped us get the gym. uh, um, but the Hoop for Coop started because a friend of mine who actually played at at Wayne College, a childhood friend of mine. Went to church, did youth groups, mission trip, sleepovers. That was a good friend. Friend of a lot of people, North Akron, all over the community, right? He passed away playing basketball at one of the local YMCA's. If you looked at this dude, he was a specimen. He worked out 4 or 5 times a week. He actually was one of the individuals who I worked out with when I was in college and playing arena ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we used to swim and stuff and do dips, and he had that prison workout thing going on. I wasn't used to. You know, he was a natural strength dude. When you looked at this dude, you'd be like, ain't no way in hell he got something wrong with him. He looks like a clean bill of health, but 90% of one artery was blocked and 85% of the other artery was blocked. So
Wow.
he had high blood pressure. So the doctor walked. The doctor said that he was a walking time bomb. So like how you know how me and you are having a conversation right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just fell out and nothing you couldn't do about it.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was more genetic for him. It was more genetic. It was pretty much almost all genetic, and because he his diet was decent. You know, it wasn't terrible. His diet was decent and decent. So when he passed away, you know, instantly people thinking about violence. But when you start hearing stories, and a lot of people in the city, a lot of people in the world is dying for preventable health. And we're getting older. He was 34. Literally, Coop had just Kenyatta Dwayne Cooper Jr. He had just graduated with his bachelor's degree and got accepted into graduate school for social work. And he would have been doing the same thing I've been doing in the community, working with individuals. But in the eve of just graduating, that following week, pretty much come around on a Wednesday, you pass away. So uh, not only was Coop a good dude, a lot of people in the city had love for Coop because Coop was who he was, and very intelligent brother, uh, and I miss him. Like a lot of us miss him. We got stories for days on Coop. There's stories for days of people here from all sides of town, and we knew it was something because when he passed away, a few specifically, Anthony Lomax, Victor Cox, myself, uh, and Nyrell Knight, right, and uh, and Don McGarry got together, and we was like, we gotta do something, like we gotta do something. Like what we gonna do? And so Lowe was like, man, we should all go hoop. Lowe, my dude Anthony Lomax, he's a retired vet. He served 3 terms in Iraq, Afghanistan. He was in the war, right? And we leads a AAU team called Akron Infantry that I'm a part of. Childhood things, right? Childhood things and grow up, and now you got 2 teams ranked in the nation: the 5th grade team, 6th grade team ranked 11th, 4th grade team ranked 6th. Got 3rd grade, 8th grade playing nationally from out of Akron area. So, that's cool. With him, but Low, my dude Low, he said we gonna name it the Hoover Coop. Go up there, we call it Hoover Coop. and and it was just like everybody was like, cool. Right? That sounds dope. Like, let's do it. So the first time we did it was at Summit Lake. It was right. It was 2 days before, a day before his wake, and 2 days before his funeral. We put it together in 3 days. Um, we put a GoFundMe together, which we felt only right to do that. But Coop's family ain't need to GoFundMe. We did that from the homies aspect, and the mom said we could. My mom reiterated to us, yeah, go ahead. That's cool. I appreciate anything y'all gonna do, whatever y'all think y'all feel, but we don't need it. But go ahead if you want to. So we was like, so the goal was to do the GoFundMe for 7 days, 7 days, days of completion. Da-da-da. And then we had this event on that Wednesday evening. The people who showed up on that Wednesday, it was amazing. The city that came out, all sides of town. It was a good event, you know, and we had never thought about really doing it again until we would see people and they'd be like, "Man, y'all doing that again? Y'all doing that again?" It's like, no, yeah, then it's people calling us like, next time, in my fault, we couldn't hit the GoFundMe, you know. In the GoFundMe, we cut it off, 7 days, and we was able to raise 3,400. That went right back to the family. Nobody gave all that went family. So, but we raised the most money that day. We raised like $2,200 that day in 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
It was crazy. Now we got some, but we end up giving. I don't. We gave that money, and it was all from the homies. It was all, it was all from the neighborhood to say, he had what, 4 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. It was just from us. Wasn't no negative vibe about it. Everything was all positive. We wish we could do more. We wish homie was still here. But that turned into the next year. Some fellas, we got together. I was part of his leadership class. And we started to do the Hoover Coop again. So we said all the people who come in, they got to get a health screen. All the men. So that, your blood pressure, you're aware. And you got nurses, doctors, you got all these, SUMA, all these hospital people, all these people can talk to you about your health. But we made it to a point where, and I know it's upset some people in the city, and we still upset some people in the city. But the first year was all the homies come have fun, come off the street and play ball. This one we did where it was alumni schools. So if you graduated from like 1995, like 2015, we just actually get your team together.
Huh.
And we will have this high school that was a rival play against that high school, and this high school play against that high school. And so, since my Nyrell Knight was a former YMCA youth and adult sports director, and he ran one of the best men's leagues in the whole Northeast Ohio at the time. It was easy for us to get teams and get people. And so I think the first we started off with like 4 games. We did a Wayne College versus team. No, we did a Wayne College versus, we played at Wayne, I coached at Wayne, versus the Police, which Wayne College destroyed them. I would never let the Police play the Wayne College again. They did them so bad. But hey, it was good. And then we had a team Coop team versus the Burning Bush, which is like the big church around Akron, always had the top players. So we had a team, our team Coop. We played them, and these dudes brought in like 4 people that just came from playing overseas.
Oh no.
And man, and we got people who play one time a week, blew out. Probably was out at the bar last night coming in, to smoke the black and mild before they came in to play the game. We talking about pros, and we only lost by 3 points.
Wow.
We should have beat them. We was tired. We should have beat them. We would have beat them if we were more in shape. But then we played. It was 2 more. It was a Bookto versus St. V game, St. Vincent St. Mary. That's always a rival because they right up the street, And then we was on the east side, so we had to let East and Kenmore play. We couldn't play at East Gym without having East and Kenmore. So we played the 4 games. That first year was a great turnout. At least 500 people just for them 4 games, man. It was crazy. And then the following year, we pushed it up to 8 games. And then the year after that, we pushed it up to 12 games. So this year, we are 5th annual. No, I take, yeah. And then last year was our 4th annual. We did that same, we only had 7 games. So this year coming up is our 5th annual event. And that's our signature event. That's our signature event. Now, throughout COVID, because of some of the funding that we received, that we couldn't, really do our hoof for coops because there was no contact. I was able to create a meal service and a food pantry and clothing pantry for those who are in need. And
check you out, man.
yeah. And started to understand, because we got our nonprofit and our tax exempt status. So just trying to find out, how to write grants and things of that nature. So we've been blessed. Because I'm running some summer camps and things of that nature. I run a 7-week summer camp. I have 2 fundraisers. I actually had 2, it was called jazz and comedy shows. And we have a little comedy, a little jazz, a little have fun, eat good, drink a little good and enjoy yourself. It's laughter, that's a part of the preventable health. We want to laugh, hang
It's
out a little
funny you mentioned that because that's what I go to, man. I love going to
bit.
jazz night. I love checking out comedy night at the theaters,
Yeah.
whenever they have them.
Yeah. That's a cool mix.
hmm
That's a cool mix right there.
It's a
It's
good
both
time,
soothing
man.
your soul, especially if you're eating good, and so that's one of the things that, from talking just from me personally, but also talking to my board and talking to my closest friends, and we all talked about the AK infantry, the AA team, years ago, and beyond 10 years ago. We all talked about, being able to go places and hang out, look dressed up, and things of that nature. And now you can create those aspects and do things like that. So that jazz and comedy show came up from a conversation like me and you had with them. And they're like, "Hey, man, why can't you do it though?"
Yeah.
We're like, "Well, we can do it. Look, man, get dressed up, get a couple comedians, get somebody to play jazz. We can all pitch in. All right. But you got to do it." Like they tell me, well, you got to do it though. So, and so just because we was able to do it the last for 2 times and it was nice, we're going to do it again. Like we're going to do fundraisers, but it's something that's not going to be like every year. It'll be like every other year. We might have to squeeze it in this year due to all the 5th annual Coop for Coop stuff. So we don't know. But yeah, as from a nonprofit standpoint, that's kind of what we offer. From a professional standpoint, I still coach. I'm a qualified behavioral health specialist in the community, working with youth and families. Um, I sit on different committees. I sit on a couple of boards, uh, different organizations. Uh, I'm a member of Mount Zion Baptist Church on Carver Street in Akron, Ohio, and that's where I do a lot of my programming. Um, Pastor Robert Gosen has allowed me to come in and blessed me, so I'm able to do some programming out of there, and that's why I held my summer camps. So um, I'm trying to think if I. Oh, so I will go back. I'm gonna go back. Yeah. So from leaving tag, going mental health and how it affects not only the Black community, it affects
Everyone.
everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
Right. Like, so I came out of this education hole, like, boom, education, 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 seeing different alternatives and strategies and boom, boom. Okay. Then I came into this mental health thing. Now, mind you, already I got this sports science, exercise science thing, right? So now I'm hitting this mental health field. And so, with the mental health side really allowed me again, gave me that not necessarily a paradigm shift, but gave me an aha. Like, that's why your dad was like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like that. That's why you like that.
The glass shatter. You had the glass shattering effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you really like a snapshot and sit back and say, wow, we all dealing with some type of trauma. We're all dealing with a lot of different things. And as I said, in every phase of my life, I've witnessed some type of trauma. From 0 to 10 to 10 to 20 to 20 to 30, you know what I'm saying? From 30 to 40. I would even be remiss to say 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. Within the experience trauma.
And what would you say
You
is
know,
your like when you get patients, people that are dealing with it like hardcore? What do you tell them? How do you help them out?
to be patient. Say that again. And I'm here. How do I tell people to be patient?
No, no. Like when people are dealing with something that, like mental stuff, how do you help them out? What is your strategy? How do you help them to overcome it and ease themselves? And
First and foremost, you need prayer going into it, right? You need greater power to lead you to move forward. So that's for one. You know, for two, you want to know where that person is at mentally and stably at that moment, right? Because anything that's different in that moment from a psychological standpoint can skew the answers or skew how the best way to help that individual. So understanding where they're at, meeting them right where they're at that moment. Sometimes it might not be time to talk about what happened. It might be just time to woo side. So if I do a lot of deep relaxation type breaths or affirmations, positive about self, you know. And when that person is ready to talk about whatever, the first thing I want to know is just how you feel. How you feel. Tell me,
where you at?
how you feel. And then honestly, once they, if they get talking or once they start talking, you know, hopefully you're able to gauge times where you can ask a question. Sometimes it ain't about asking questions. Sometimes it's just about being quiet. That's all you got: two ears and one mouth, two eyes. So sometimes this is about listening,
Yeah.
just listening. Everything doesn't need a response, and that's something I learned from being. Well, I learned from being at home, being popped in my mouth and whooped and stuff like that. From always saying, seriously. Then coaching, doing discipline and stuff. So it was a point in my life where I had to realize, you don't have to say everything. So mental health was probably that aha moment to say, okay, you don't have to try to fix something or explain everything. Just let it be what it be. You know. Um, so that's what I do. I try to meet them where they at. Try to get them doing some type of relaxation.
Now,
You
if you're
know.
gonna ask me that same question, what do I do?
Mm.
Well, for me, it's pretty simple. Because everybody deals with the negative mindset. Everybody has
Mhm.
that from time to time. We deal with the voices in our head. We hear it,
Mhm.
and you gotta think, how can I tune these out? How can I work against this so it's not bothering me as much? And really, it kind of, to me, it came over like I started a 30-day challenge with myself, and I started
Mhm.
listening to like Les Brown, Steve Harvey,
Yeah.
and I would listen to
Yeah.
them for like an hour each day for like 30 days.
Mhm.
And before you know it, I didn't hear those voices anymore. I
Mhm.
was reprogrammed and I didn't have those problems anymore. I was good to go. And I still, like, to this day, I'm still good to go. And I
Yeah.
didn't really realize, like, because I'd end up telling somebody about it, like, what did you do? Like, what's your strategy? It's like, well, for 30 days, for like a whole month, man, I just listened to motivational stuff for like an hour. And then I try to just surround myself with like positivity. I just watch like positive stuff, read positive stuff, listen to positive music, uplifting music. And before you know
Mhm.
it, like the whole mindset was changed, everything. I was able to think clear, like had the glass shattering effect. And then I started sharing the idea with other people. And little did I know that this 30-day challenge, I'm starting to see it now because I told more people about it. But people are like,
Mhm.
wow, Chris, this worked. It actually helped me out.
Mhm.
I was like, dude, I didn't think nothing
Mhm.
of it. It was just,
You know, but
oh,
no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Go ahead though. Keep going. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, yeah, I was about to wrap it up. Like what I was saying though, so like I said, it was just a month thing, 30-day thing to myself, and I turned it into, I let somebody else in on it. It's like, here, you try this, see if it works for you. It worked for them, and now they're sharing it with other people. And that little did I know, now it's becoming this Chris's 30-day challenge. Try it. Like, well, I
Mhm.
didn't see that coming.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I commend you for doing that. Some of the best thing you can do in the morning is feed yourself with your breakfast. That's a part of breakfast. It's a part of you getting your mind right, your whole mind, body, and soul. That's holistically, you know, um, mind, body, and spirit. How I say that, uh, holistically, and you got to reinforce yourself. And you got to plug away from music sometimes. You know, you got to plug away from other things. And that's key. That's key. It's important to, instead of listening to music, listen to an audio book or listen to some more motivational, uh, to keep you moving, keep you moving. And I commend you for doing that because I do that often. I was just, who are you? That's what it was. Who are you? So it was just, I, I was just flipping through my YouTube. It popped up early in the morning. I dropped my daughter off of school. I said, "Oh, really?" Started listening to him. Started listening to him. So that got me going. So thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. I will. I'm going to focus more on that myself and focus on you know that for others because several individuals have told me that. Several individuals told me that. So you're just confirming uh, that I need to do that a little bit more as well. So thank you.
Oh yeah, but what I'm trying to get it out there is like, I'm not just talking. I'm telling you straight up, man, that it will. I mean, it will change your whole mindset. You'll look at life differently. Your life, if you allow it, you actually listen to what you're programming yourself to. It's gonna change you. It's gonna change everything around you. You're gonna change your way of thinking, and before you know it, you're gonna have different ideas coming out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And what I just
Mm-hmm.
tell people, that's God working, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's opening the door. He's knocking, and that's truly opening the door, saying, "Hey, let's use that gift now that you got. Let's show it off to the world."
Hmm.
I spread it to
Yeah,
other people, you know?
yeah, 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 yeah. I hear that. I hear that. So from a mental health standpoint, it allowed me to have more empathy and sympathy, and to understand what mental health is, and understand my own mental health. Like, yeah, I got mental health issues. Like, I do. Um, it's not. It's the same thing about it is, I don't know nobody close around me who don't.
We all do, you know? You just
Yeah, I
gotta
don't know
admit it.
who don't. I'm. There's a lot of people around me. They look good. They put together. Oh, they put a show on. But something wrong with you too. You know, something wrong with you too. I just accept mine. I just
Yeah,
accept mine, knowing I'm messed up. But I don't. I laugh at it, but it's definitely not a laughing matter. It's something that you have to control, or it's going to control you.
yeah.
And so, listen, motivational individuals, being able to, give yourself that breakfast, lunch, and dinner of positivity throughout the day, is what is definitely needed. You know, uh,
Believe it or not, I don't know if a lot of people are gonna believe this, but first thing you should do when you start the day is drink a big glass of water. A big
yeah,
glass of water. Why? Your body's gonna thank you. For real, like your body's gonna give off this positive like aura around you, and you're gonna like throughout the rest of the day. It happens to me, man. Every time I drink that glass of water, first thing I start off in the day, I'm able to focus better, concentrate better, and I just feel good the entire day. I don't feel sluggish at all. Because a lot of people are like, I need my coffee, I need my caffeine to start the day. But really, it's that
mhm.
glass of water, man. You start your day off with that. I don't know. I'm just saying, try it. Try it.
You know what? I usually drink a 8-ounce glass of water with a shot of apple cider vinegar. I usually drink that in the morning. Yeah, you know, and that wakes me up.
Oh, I bet.
That wakes me up. Yeah, that wakes me up. I try to knock it down too. Try to knock it down. Or sometimes I don't do it with water. Sometimes I might do it with like orange juice or the grape juice, or sometimes I switch it up so I can take the apple cider vinegar differently. Um, because I don't like taking the peel form. I like to feel it right then and there. Um, so yeah, I agree with you, man. That water, or yeah, it's a ritual, right?
Yeah.
It's a ritual, and I believe in rituals. Even going through the rites, your day has to be filled with rituals. So when you get up in the morning, it has to be a ritual. That's your water.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So seriously, no, because and so you have a ritual this time. You might have a ritual that, then when you go to sleep, you have a ritual. Before you eat, you have a ritual. You create rituals to keep you, balanced.
Yep.
Balanced. People say create rituals. That sound crazy. Uh, no, it's not. It's like going in the car and praying before you leave out the car. Asking, that's just a ritual. Individuals who pray when they get up, go to sleep, that's just a ritual. That's what you got to do. People who need to exercise, right? That's a ritual. If you use it the way you need to use it, it's just an act for you that gets you from one level to the next level. So,
Hold on,
um,
hold on. Before we jump to another topic, I want to
mm,
add this too. This works for me.
mm,
People, you always want to wake up refreshed, feeling good when you
mhm,
wake up, right? My advice to you, or whoever's watching, listening, try praying before you go to bed. Try to pray in the Our Father prayer. Pray it like
mhm,
5 times, and then read I think it's Psalms 91. Read that scripture, and then go to bed. And I promise you, You'll wake up feeling refreshed every time. Refreshed, ready to go.
You know what? It's scary you saying that because I got Matthew 6:9 tattooed on my arm. And I got Psalms 23 tattooed on my arm right here.
Hey,
Psalms 23 right here. Matthew 6:9. It starts the Lord's Prayer.
I'm just listening to what he's telling me to say.
Yeah, yeah, So it's like it's a reason when you call when you reached out to me, I was like, man, I ain't about to tell nobody my story. Yeah, I'm about to do that shit, man. And then I was like, damn, like, I gotta I can write a book. It's about my story. I can write a book about my experience. I can write like a 4-volume book. And I literally can. And I've always said I'm gonna write a book. So I thought about it, and something hit me like, why not? Why not? Why not? I'm telling you some things that I normally don't tell nobody. Like I might like some things I told you, you either had to be there with me, or you might be a handful of people.
And honestly,
Especially like my college experience. I don't talk about my college experience at all. I
honestly
I, I,
though,
I don't talk about it.
now that you kind of have told it, we're just getting just the surface. Can you kind of tell me how you're feeling right now? Do you feel like relieved at all? Do you feel a little better, or how you feeling?
I don't. I'm gonna say I feel better. No, I'm gonna feel better. Um,
Not just I'm just saying this like being able to talk about it. Just
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Wanting to talk about it, or you really hit me with the question about adversities and stuff going into school. And that kind of was like, ooh, college. And it hit me like, okay, let's go. Like, all right. Let me tell you about this. And so it doesn't make me feel better. But I told it I'm glad I did, right? I'm glad I did say it, right? Um, and I don't plan on keep saying it, right? Uh, will it come out again? Yeah, but probably once or twice more, unless I do a biography, and it'll definitely be in that. But and I'll let that speak for it. Yeah, but I don't plan on really discussing it um, in detail unless I do a book or something. You know what I'm saying? I can give bits and pieces and things of that nature, but we like I said, when I said it got some scars from it, yeah, I got some real life scars, um, from those 5 6 years, 5 years or so in college.
I
Um,
definitely think, without a doubt, though, you should write that book.
hmm
You should write that book.
hmm yeah, yeah, yeah. And I learned a lot. Like my father had mental health from where he grew up, the things he did, and the life that my father had, and from being a Marine and things. So, it was, and then my friends, and it's a lot that got me who I am to right now, right? And moving forward is more or less like you mentioned it, how God is talking to you,
Hmm.
and God talks to you through other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
God really talks to you through other people, the things, and not only do you have to listen, you have to be prepared to move when tall time to move. You got to be prepared. You got to be prepared, and you got to believe, and you got to expect that you ain't gonna know everything. You know, you got to expect that. You're gonna mess up. You got to expect it. You almost got to look at it as building blocks to make you a better who you are.
It's all part of the
You know,
progress.
yeah. I can learn a lot from winning, but I can learn more from failing.
Yep. That's all part of
You
the
know,
life's journey, man. Is
hmm
just you learn. You live, you learn. But most
right.
importantly, though, you got to hit on that note. Is you got to continue to follow what God's telling you to do.
hmm
Continue to lead. Go with His lead and see where He's taking you. I'm about to get into a preaching session over here.
Hey, it's all good. We talking from a similar lens. That's cool.
But
That's
I mean,
cool. That's
that's how I
cool.
really see it, though. Is like as I get wiser in age, I know I don't know everything. It's like I think I'll be like that the rest of my life, where I'm just continuously learning and practicing just how to live life. It's all progress.
Mhm,
We're all
mhm,
gonna make mistakes. There's only one
yeah,
perfect human being, and that was Jesus
mhm,
Christ. And you see
mhm,
how He went out. And
mhm,
what a lot of people, and for the watcher listener right now, you're probably feeling right now that you messed up bad, or you keep making that same mistake, that you keep going to God and telling Him, "Oh, I ain't gonna do it again. I thank you for forgiving me. I ain't gonna do it again." But understand, He sent His only Son into the world, and today is 316. Just thinking
316.
about that,
Wow.
He sent His
Wow.
He sent His only Son into the world because He knew that we was gonna mess up. We was gonna make the same mistakes twice, or 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, 100 times. But know that you were loved always.
Mhm,
God's always gonna be there, no matter what. No matter what you do, He's always gonna be there. I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you wanna join in,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, I have nothing else. I have nothing. We can go on and on, but that gives you a snapshot of my story. And I'm just gonna do as much as I can with my nonprofit, right? Build my for-profit, and try to get back into teaching and on a collegiate level and retire out. That's my end goal, and help and to still be in the business of helping our community, helping children, adolescents, and families as best as we can. You know, uh, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate you reaching out. You know, um, one day we may have to get together and do some lunch or something.
Oh,
We seeing each other virtual. Yeah,
have a church session in person.
yeah, definitely. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for allowing me to do this. I do feel good about doing it though. I do feel good. I did release some things.
I
I
believe without
released.
a doubt.
I was able to release that stuff from college too. You
Yeah,
know,
I believe
I
without
was
a
able to
doubt.
release some of that. Yeah.
I believe without a doubt, though, your story has touched somebody today. Somebody's listening right now, watching. Dealing with the same stuff. A lot of people
Mhm,
want to think it, but it's happening still. And to
mhm.
hear, it happened to somebody else, they're like, if he's still doing good and seeing how you're turning out now, it's like that person's definitely turned around, built their hope up, man. They probably feel good. Like, yeah, I like this guy. This guy is good. But really, man, I just want to tell you, I thank you for accepting my invitation to come on here and to tell your story. I know it was hard. I
Mhm,
could see your emotions, man. It was hard just to get that out there, and I'm so proud of you for doing it, for getting it off your chest and being able to talk about it and tell others as well about it.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. Like I said again, that's just surface. I mean, I went through a lot more, but you know, for me to for me to say something like that, not even knowing you, not knowing who it's gonna reach. That was God too. That was definitely God. So
He's present.
uh, again, I appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you.
Right. As we wrap up this podcast, this story, say somebody's going through it right now in a similar situation as your college experience. What would your advice be to that person?
My first question with them would be, why are you there? Why are you there? You know, uh, ask yourself that, and ask yourself, is it possible for you to be the best you can be here or there? And then, is there something that you feel God is trying to teach you? You know, uh, those are the three questions that I would want to preference to kind of lead me into some other questions. But I would encourage the individual to, get into that alone prayer time, right? To not act out and and lose anything that you got coming to you. Uh, to build alliances with people, positive alliance with people. And if it hurts that bad, and it's really tugging on your inner soul, then you got to go. You got to go. And may God bless you as you move on, because the grass might not be greener. But with God, by making positive decisions and seeking positive people and believing in yourself, believing in you, you can make anything happen. You can make anything happen. They're a star. They're a star amongst all the stars. So that's what I would tell those individuals. I would ask them questions. But if I only had a short time to talk to them, I would tell them.
What a great way to end this podcast. I thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing Jerome's story. Hope it touched you. Hope it inspired you. Hope it encouraged you. And I just want to say, you're not alone. But for you watching and listening, if you'd like to come on sometime and tell your story as well, feel free to just message me. But this is Chris. I'm signing off. Have a great night.